Silence. It's not just the absence of sound. It's a choice that can be louder than screams, heavier than chains, and more dangerous than the evil it ignores. Over 80 years ago, a German pastor named Dietrich Bonhoeffer saw this silence spreading like a plague, enabling one of history's darkest chapters. His warning was stark. Silence in the face of evil is itself evil. God will not hold us guiltless. Not to speak is to speak, not to act is to act. Today, this silent epidemic is still with us, insidious, pervasive, and perhaps more dangerous than ever. Welcome to the silent epidemic, more dangerous than evil. Bonhoeffer's forgotten warning. This isn't just a history lesson, it's a wake-up call. Let's uncover the truth together. Picture Germany in the 1930s. The air is thick with fear, propaganda, and the march of boots. The Nazi regime rises, promising order but delivering oppression. Most people, good people, keep their heads down, hoping it'll pass. But Dietrich Bonhoeffer, a young pastor and theologian, saw through the lies. Born in 1906, he was a man of faith, intellect, and courage, trained in theology but driven by conscience. He didn't just preach love, he lived it, even when it meant risking everything. Bonhoeffer's warning about silence wasn't abstract. It was born in the crucible of a world unraveling. To understand his message, we need to step into that darkness. Bonhoeffer's warning hinges on one idea. Silence isn't neutral. It's not just staying quiet. It's a decision, an act. When you see injustice, whether it's a neighbor persecuted, a lie spread, or a system crushing the weak, and choose not to speak, you're not staying out of it. You're siding with the status quo. Bonhoeffer wrote, "Not to speak is to speak." Think about that. Every time you bite your tongue, you're casting a vote for the world as it is. In Nazi Germany, silence let the unthinkable become normal. What silences are shaping our world today? Let's dig into how this epidemic took root. Why do we stay silent? Bonhoeffer saw three culprits: fear, comfort, and complicity. Fear paralyzes. Fear of losing your job, your friends, your safety. In the 1930s, speaking against Hitler could mean arrest or worse. Comfort seduces. Why rock the boat when life's fine for you? Many Germans ignored the camps because their own lives seemed untouched. And complicity? That's the slow poison of going along to get along, rationalizing evil as just how things are. Bonhoeffer called this a betrayal of conscience. Ever stayed quiet because it was easier? That's the epidemic at work. Bonhoeffer didn't just preach against silence, he lived it. He co-founded the Confessing Church, defying Nazi control over religion. He spoke out when others whispered, teaching that faith demanded action. By 1939, he could have stayed safe in America, but he returned to Germany saying, "I cannot share in the reconstruction of Christian life in Germany if I do not share in its trials." He joined the resistance, even plotting against Hitler. His voice cost him dearly. Arrest in 1943, execution in 1945, just weeks before the war's end. But his courage lit a fire. What would you risk to break the silence? In Nazi Germany, silence was the fuel for evil's engine. When Jews were stripped of rights, most neighbors stayed quiet. When propaganda drowned out truth, few challenged it. Bonhoeffer saw how silence normalized atrocities, step by step, lie by lie. The Gestapo didn't need everyone to cheer, they just needed most to do nothing. As he put it, God will not hold us guiltless. Silence wasn't just cowardice, it was complicity in the machine of destruction. How many horrors could have been stopped if more had spoken? Now let's turn the lens on today. We're halfway through, and Bonhoeffer's warning is ringing louder. Silence isn't just a relic of the past, it's alive, creeping into our world. From social media echo chambers to workplace politics, from global crises to local injustices, the silent epidemic thrives wherever we choose not to act. Bonhoeffer's words challenge us. Are we speaking, or are we letting evil slip by unnoticed? Let's explore how this epidemic looks in 2025. Today's silence wears different masks. On social media, it's the scroll past a post about suffering, too heavy, too political. In workplaces, it's not calling out a toxic culture because it's not your place. Globally, it's ignoring crises, poverty, war, climate, because they're too big. Bonhoeffer would see these as echoes of 1933, fear of backlash, comfort in ignorance, complicity in apathy. Posts on X highlight his quote, "Not to act is to act," as a call to break this cycle. Are we guilty of the same silence he warned against? Silence doesn't just enable, it escalates. Bonhoeffer saw how unchecked lies grew into genocide. Today, silence lets misinformation spread, divisions widen, and injustices fester. Consider a workplace where harassment goes unreported. Silence emboldens the abuser. Or a community ignoring systemic bias. Silence deepens the wound. The web shows how silence on platforms like YouTube can amplify harmful content when no one flags it. Bonhoeffer's warning is clear. Silence compounds evil, drop by drop. What ripples are we allowing? Bonhoeffer didn't just diagnose silence. He prescribed action. Speaking out doesn't mean shouting. It's about truth with purpose. He wrote letters, preached sermons, and risked his life to resist. Today, breaking the silence might mean challenging a lie, supporting a cause, or simply asking, "Is this right?" He believes small acts matter. Each voice chips away at evil's grip. As he said, we are not to simply bandage the wounds of victims, but to drive a spoke into the wheel itself. What's one truth you could voice today? Bonhoeffer's warning isn't just about Nazi Germany. It's about us, the silent epidemic, fearful, comfortable, complicit, lurks wherever we let evil pass unchallenged. His words, "Silence in the face of evil is itself evil," aren't a judgment, they're a plea to see, to speak, to act. Bonhoeffer's life shows the cost of courage, but also its power. The question isn't whether evil exists, it's whether we'll let silence give it room to grow. Let's explore what this means for our lives. How do you break the silence in 2025? Start small. Call out a harmful comment, even if it's awkward. Share a story that needs hearing. Use your platform, no matter how small. Ask questions when something feels wrong. Curiosity can spark change. Support others who speak out. Amplify their voices. Bonhoeffer's resistance began with conversations, not grand gestures. The web reminds us, even removing tracking parameters from YouTube links is a tiny act of defiance against overreach. What's one silence you can break today? Bonhoeffer's warning resonates now more than ever. Activists cite him in fights against injustice, from human rights to digital privacy. X posts echo his call, urging action over apathy. His ideas align with modern ethics. Whistleblowers, truth-tellers, and movements all challenge silence. Even science backs the power of speaking out. Studies show collective action shifts norms. Bonhoeffer wasn't alone. He was part of a chorus. His voice still calls us to join it. Bonhoeffer's life asks us, what's worth your voice? Silence feels safe, but it's a trap. Every time you speak, you weaken the epidemic's hold. Next time you see a wrong, big or small, pause and ask, what would Bonhoeffer do? Your words, your actions aren't just yours. They're a legacy. What silence will you refuse to keep? Dietrich Bonhoeffer saw silence not as a bystander's choice, but as evil's ally. His warning, not to act is to act, cuts through time, demanding we face the epidemic in ourselves. Silence may be quiet, but its consequences scream. Thanks for joining me on this dive into the silent epidemic more dangerous than evil. Bonhoeffer's forgotten warning. If this moved you, hit that like button, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more journeys into truth. What silence will you break? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to know. Until next time, keep speaking.